Hello and welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Doc Talk. This is episode 35A.
I'm Cam and this is Julie. This week's Torah portion is called Vayak'hel, and it is from Exodus 35 to 38:20. It kind of seems like a repeat from a few weeks ago.
Isn't that how we learn?
Yes, that's right.
Repeat.
Repetition is the best teacher. Basically, this week on a bigger scale is a repeat. Okay. So we're repeating what we learned two Torah portions ago, where the Lord presents how He wants to draw near, and He gives the ark, and He gives the that's the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
With the toning seat and the lampstand, and all the I can't talk today. All the other pieces that He includes. And we have it from the view of the Lord saying, I want to be in relationship with you. Because remember, it's the marriage. They said marriage. Then they blew the covenant. Forget it.
That's what I was going to say. You know why I love that? Because you have this, then the golden calf, then you have it again, the second chance.
That's right. Because they blow it with the golden calf.
Right.
So now they're, the Lord's like, okay, now I still expect all these things that I wanted before. I still want, because I want to be able to commune with you. But the cool thing is this week's order gives us a hint of now it's not that the Lord isn't interested in dwelling with us, but now in the order in which they build it, it's showing that now Israel is saying, okay, from our perspective, we want to be with you. They don't start with the Ark of the Covenant. They start with the outside.
Where they start.
They start building the outside so that then they can go in, and when the Ark of the Covenant is built, they have something to put it in. It's not just sitting there waiting for housing. Yes. But when the Lord presents it earlier, He presents it first with the Ark, because that's where He's going to dwell, above the Ark of the Testament and the seat, Judgment seat. So they don't build it in the order in which the Lord presented it. They build it almost in the opposite order, because that's the way they come. They come through the tent, or through the gate, right? And then they have to go through the altar to the labyrinth and then in. So it's cool, because before we saw where the Lord's like, I want to draw near to you this way. And Israel says, yes, we'll draw near to you this way. And then together they meet.
Yeah, He's
place.
given them the provision.
Yes. Now, there are a few things this week. While it does still repeat, there's a few things that we're going to kind of grab a hold of and discuss. I know that I said that it starts with Exodus 35, but we're going to back up just a little bit to Exodus 34 at the end, where we see Moshe coming down and his face shines, right? Yes. They're like, cover yourself, okay? So remember when the Lord spoke to them in Exodus 20, they're like, we can't hear you anymore. Please, please, please be Moshe, okay? So now Moses comes down and he shines. Well, we see that in Matthew 17 when Yeshua and Moshe and Elijah, are on the mountain. We talked about that. So he's shining, just like he was. And I find it interesting because Paul really talks about this. He talks about this in 2 Corinthians 3. I think starting about 7, actually it's the whole chapter, but from 7 on down to 15, 16, 17, he's really talking about. And the gist of it is that it's talking about how the Torah is now written on these people, our hearts. It's being written on the hearts. And that when you look at the stone tablets as a rigid, there's no life in it, then it's death to you. But when it's written on the heart, it's life to us. Paul's saying that when it's written on your heart, which I love, with the finger of God, which we see right here when Moshe gets the tablets, remember? He cut out the tablets, but the Lord wrote with His finger, the Spirit.
Right. Just like He does on our hearts.
On the tablets. And the Spirit, the same finger of God, writes it on our hearts. And here we see Moses, shining. And the thought was that, so Old Testament's done away with, Torah's done away with. And what Paul's saying is, no, it's understanding the Spirit of Messiah, because now we've seen it. Now we see the life that's in it. No longer do we have to see it as this rigid set of do's and don'ts. It's now do's and don'ts for life, and understanding that. It's not salvation. It's life. It's
living,
sanctification. Right. And that's what Paul's really talking about. And I find that very enlightening and a point of rejoicing, because you come to the realization that it is life. And when it's written on your heart, you want to. It's so true. When you keep one mitzvah, one commandment, it really does make you want to keep another one. And it just becomes easier and easier because it's a way of life. You know, like people say diet. Well, if you can diet, but when it becomes a way of life, do you see your body?
That's when you really
change.
experience good health and life.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with Torah. When studying it becomes not just you're just studying it, it's not just on stone, but it's a way of life and on your heart. It's a whole different ball game. And it truly is life and not death. Because when you see it on the stone, all you see is, I can't do that. And when you see it on the heart, all you see is, I can. Because you said, be perfect as I'm perfect. Okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and I find that in the Messianic movement, or whatever this is, we tend to spend all of our time and energy on just trying to convince people that it's a valid point. Yeah. Instead of understanding that, okay, you still have to hear and obey.
Right.
Obedience is still part of it. So great. Now you know that it's something valid for today.
Right.
Now,
walk it out.
We must be diligent in walking it out as well.
Yeah.
And discipling one another.
Yeah. On that note, we move right into 35, where Moshe comes down and he speaks to the children of Israel. And the first thing he says with the renewed covenant is, keep the Sabbath.
Yes.
You know why? Okay, guys, we're still married. That's right. Let's put the ring back on.
Yeah.
Get the ring back on. Let's have the Sabbath. Let's keep the Shabbat. Again, that's the once every week, once every month, once, the 7 times a year, every 7 years, every 50 years. So it's every day of your life you should be aware of it. And there are 3 main points of the 7. Sorry for all the background noise. We're just doing this. We are told that we are to do Shabbat. We're to keep Shabbat. And we are to guard Shabbat. So in this day and age, sometimes that's really difficult.
Yes,
and it's a matter of walking it out that you become more proficient at it.
Right.
I am not so proficient at it, though I am walking it out.
Yes.
The idea of guarding it means you know it's there and you know that you're supposed to do something about it. And you don't let anybody remove it. So when someone says, oh, it's another day. No, it's not. It is on Saturday. Friday night sundown to Saturday sundown. Okay?
Right.
That is Shabbat. That's God's time that he says, please come and visit me. I would love to be with you. Let's sit down and really have an intimate time. So guarding Shabbat is quite easy, no matter where you are. Okay? It really is a matter of acknowledging that there is a Sabbath and that it's not to be messed with as far as moved around. You guard it because the word says it's true, and that's what you guard. And then you have the keeping and the doing, okay? Doing Shabbat, what's that? That's a resting. That's the bringing in the Shabbat wherever you are by acknowledging that it's here. And when it goes out, acknowledging that it's leaving and the new week is arriving. Doing Shabbat can look different for all kinds of people. We have in this week's Torah portion where a part of the 39 do not work rules have come from. And Judaism has 39 categories in which you do not work. Some, they're based scripturally, but they're not necessarily scriptural. The work definition is one of those things that I say, hey, get down on your knees before the Lord and go, is this work for me?
Right.
Is this not work for me? What is the time of being able to be with my family, enjoy, and to be with you, and to make that day memorable and holy? Because we're also told to keep it holy, to set it apart, which means, holy means setting apart, but it means it must look different than your other days. A really good practical and applicable thing to today's lifestyle, it would be someone's on Facebook every single day, all day long, okay? So maybe on Sabbath you don't get on Facebook. Or maybe you're like, hey, usually I'm on Facebook all day long. So today I just go to check maybe some Torah. Only I check the Torah once to see what conversations there. Because
it could be about what you do. You could do business every day on Facebook and
you don't do business
email. And then on the Sabbath, you connect with other Torah worshipers or other sites where you can have conversation and study. And
like we watch El Shaddai and Baruch Hashem every Shabbat, on the Saturday. We meet on Friday nights. Then we have another, corporate group that we're not physically there, but we worship with them, and then we watch, we listen to the sermon. And then after the day, then we do whatever. We'll go visit my mom in a nursing home, or we'll go chill out. We'll come chill out and have coffee. We'll go ride bikes, or sometimes we'll ride bikes. No, we will keep our day relatively loose, comfortable, nothing that we would necessarily do on another day, because normally I would not have a day that I can't do anything. I've got to work. Yeah. And that's not what we do on Shabbat. And so everyone's Shabbat may look a little different, and that's okay. The idea is that we have that individual connection, and one person, their Shabbat may be almost like a monk-like existence. That's yes. all right. Someone else's may be very sociable. It doesn't make one or the other right or wrong.
Right.
It's we're all one body, and we all have different functions.
Exactly.
Okay? And on that note, we'll move over into the function part, because I love how we see everyone bringing a contribution. Uh-huh. Everyone has a role. Some people left Egypt with all this purple material. I don't know why she gave me that big old roll of purple material. Well, now they can give purple material. It talks about those who have acacia wood. Acacia wood was not found in the wilderness. That means they had to have gotten it from Egypt. Now think of this. Everyone was given this from Egypt. They have it. Okay? It's their own. It's their own. But the Lord gave it to them. And here we see, not only do they give back so much. Men and women, okay? Every single part of the body. They give back so much that finally the builders are like, just stop. We don't even have a place to put it all.
That wouldn't happen today.
Could you imagine? No, because today we'd be like, well, we've always wanted a gymnasium. Let's just build a gymnasium.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, no. They're like, no, this is good. Our needs are covered.
The Lord said do this. We've done it.
Right. And the Lord said, do this way. He was very specific because he is a God of details. That's right. Why we have no excuse to say, well, I want to do this and bring in all the pagan things to worship. We have no excuse because he has been a God of order and detail and very specific on what he wanted.
And he said forever.
Yes, forever. It never ends. We can't. That's such a good point.
His laws are eternal.
Yes. And, okay, so we don't have a tabernacle. We don't have a temple right now. That's fine. He has given us provision in order to worship him with the praises of our mouth, right?
That's right.
The sacrifices of our praise. To lift those things up, they still, in the heavenlies, are fulfilling, are meeting, I should say, the requirements of worship. And that's acceptable.
Building that city.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Building that city.
Yeah. Now, we have the whole body, right? We have everyone's function. And now we see here in 21 and on, 31 and on, where we have the chosen two that are going to actually do the building part. They're filled with wisdom. And we saw this too. Oh, I love it. Everyone who brings the contributions, they're all filled with the Spirit.
Yes.
They have the heart and the Spirit that's telling them, bring this. Everyone involved is Spirit-filled. Everyone involved has that of one body, of one spirit, right? Of one mind. Okay. So you have this group. The Holy Spirit's like, go bring that. So they're giving, right? And then we have the gentleman here, whose name I can't really say, but Julie might be able to say it. We think it's Betzel and Aholiab. Hope I'm saying that right. But the thing that I really love is not only are they filled with the Spirit in order to do all the work, because they're going to do the work themselves, plus they're directing. So that means the Lord is showing them basically what Moshe saw, because they're going to be able to do it. But it also says that they are there to teach. They're going to be able to teach. So this isn't just work. They're able to teach. They're getting understanding from the things that they're making of the bigger picture. Yeah. And that's what happens when we allow the Holy Spirit to move in us. When we're in the Word, we're able to see the bigger picture. We're able to also see what Moses sees. Back to that 2 Corinthians 3, that was the whole point in that text, was that people had the blinders on. They had the veil. They were not able to see. When the veil was taken off during this time, people were freaking out. They wanted the veil back on. They couldn't handle it. Right. Well, now that Messiah's come, the idea is the veil is to stay off. Because now there's an understanding, because they have the Holy Spirit. There's the understanding here. We too have that ability to see with the veil off, okay? To see in the mirror of what he should look like. The glow's not so bright that we can't see what Messiah looks like now. We can see that, see the reflection, and then hope that our reflection looks like his, and that's our goal, that we will one day look like him. It won't happen until he completely gives it to us, but until then we are to work towards it.
And going back to what you said before with the you do a mitzvah here and a mitzvah there, here a little, there a little, like Isaiah talks about. That will help that glow, that acclimates us to the glow. Because at first, if we see it all, it is overwhelming, and we're like, no, just stop. I can't do that. I can't see it. But as we walk in obedience, it's like, okay, maybe I can. Okay, maybe I can. We're doing better today than we were yesterday.
That I can.
And pretty soon we can tolerate more of the glow. And that's like you said, what we're walking towards.
Yeah. That's all we have today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
If you enjoy it or you learn anything or you get a little nugget, we ask you to please share us with other people. They might get a blessing out of it too. We hope to see you on the flip side with the Brit Hadashah and Julie, and we will see you soon. Have a great week, and thanks again for joining us.
Shalom.